Should I go backwards cap today? I'm going to go backwards cap. It feels cool for the kids.
May feel cool, doesn't look cool. It's like you get the little wee.
My little who's that?
Yoink.
Baby Huey? Got my baby Huey Tuft. No, you're right. I can't do this.
You'd be
right.
Tony Tufton.
Tufton.
I'm the Tuft Tony.
Hey, I'm Tony Tufton. How you doing, man?
Hey, watch him! We're Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! We're Dan and Tony! It's Hey, watch him, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
And on tonight's show...
Tonight...
we're going to be talking about a brand new movie, Five Nights at Freddys, based on a series of how many games? At least 5 or 6 games. A lot of games.
I think it's at least 6 because there's 4 numbered games, and then there's the sister, and there's Help Wanted, and there's Pizzeria. There's at least. Okay, I didn't go to. So yeah, at least.
At least of 4, 3, 7, 9.5, 2 1/4.
I can't. Math is not my strong suit. There's over 6, I would say.
Yeah, over 6. This movie was optioned to be made back in not 1995, 2015.
Okay, and the game came out 2011. Am I
close
did it?
On that? I don't know. I didn't look at the numbers of the game, but so this has been optioned for a long time.
And Universal had it, right?
This was a Universal release.
Oh, this was?
Yeah, this was. Universal. Okay. Universal released it in theaters, and it also was started. There's some scary things on this movie that you will not believe. Just some numbers that melt your brain a bit. Released on Peacock at the same time. Just a quick bit of information. Released this year, 2023. It's still in theaters. It's already made, I believe, $223 million. It made
not bad
more, I think, on its first weekend than Black Widow made.
I still haven't seen Black Widow, so I believe it.
It's just, when you're 20, they made this movie for $20 million. When you're $20 million movie, which you also, released on Peacock.
Which they were very worried about. I remember they were talking. They were like, "There's a good chance that we're costing us like $40 million in revenue by opening on Peacock." I think it worked out.
It worked out very good for them. So the start of 2015. Christopher Columbus was the director that was on before. There was one director,
like Harry Potter. Christopher Columbus? Wow.
He was like the second director. I don't remember who the first one was. Okay. He was the second director. He dropped out. And then the woman who did this was someone I've never heard of.
I think it's someone nobody's heard of.
Tammy something or other. And this is what I have to say about this movie. I did not hate this movie.
Okay. So we're giving our top view, bird's eye. The first time I didn't say this on the show. I watched this movie twice this week. The first I don't think I've ever done that on this show before. The first time I watched it, I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I was like, this is fine. This is a fine introductory horror movie. The second time I watched it, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. There are so many problems that I was blind to the first time. Here's what happened. I watched the movie earlier. Shut up, Dan. I watched the movie earlier in the week, okay? And I was like, you know what? It's a fine movie. I don't know why people are upset, but it's 80-something% audience score, right? So people are liking it, but the people that don't like it, hate it. So then I played only the first game. It's the only one I could afford. It was very cheap on Xbox. So I played the first one. Phenomenal. I had a great time, which we can talk about later if you want.
No, wait.
So then I went back and watched the movie again. I was like, no, this movie's terrible. I hate this movie. This is a garbage movie.
Now, isn't the game don't you just turn lights on and turn lights off and things go...
Absolutely brilliant. This game is the most basic, simple game that just delivers on its premise, right? Yeah. So you're in a room. You don't move. You can lean left or right to close doors or turn on lights. That's it in your room. And then you can look in security cameras And the whole point is you have to survive the night without running out of batteries or getting murdered. Great stuff.
Okay.
So you watch these cameras, and as you watch cameras, your battery drains. If you turn on the lights in your room, the battery drains faster. If you close the doors and open the doors, the batteries go further. So what it is the camera, it starts with the animatronic things just like still in a camera. So you're kind of flipping around. And eventually you get back to the first camera. And you're like, oh shit, one of them's gone. Where is it? So you're clicking through all these different things. And then like they'll be standing in shadow so you can barely see it. And you're like, is that it? And then it moves. And you're like, oh shit, oh, that's it. And then if you run out of batteries, you run out of batteries and then you get out of your camera screen and it's a jump scare, not to ruin the game for everybody, sure. But then it's like a jump scare. You get murdered. The thing comes at you and you scream 100%. You're like, wow, it's brilliant. It's so basic. It's so simple. It's so smart. None of that was in the movie.
Well, it's interesting because what you're saying is that's a game that captured the imagination of a certain type of. You wouldn't play that game all the time. Would you care to finish that game?
No, I only played it a couple times, and I never made it past the first night, Dan.
Yeah,
that's how bad I was at it.
Yeah,
I'm sure other people are great at it, not me.
And the people that are great at it are 13-year-old kids. This movie and this franchise is for 13-year-old kids, and it's this introduction to horror. It's
100%.
And this game is like a game that a 13-year-old is going to sit there and going to be like, I'm going to read all about it. I'm going to figure it all out. I'm going to know what I need to do. And I'm going to push this button when I need to push this button. They're going to figure it all out and they're going to love it. And then each progressive game has more of the insane lore of this world where the guy created these robots and then the robots eat children, and he might be a magician, or he might be a this, or he might be a that, and so they wrote books, and so just more and more lore was piled onto this thing. And I watched. I didn't watch the complete ones, but there were 3 videos that were an hour long, and I would put them on, and they would just be talking about the lore of each game. And then this, and then Chi-Chi came up, and Chi-Chi was looking through the window, but it wasn't Chi-Chi; it was this other one looking like Chi-Chi. And just like it's like a soap opera. It's like a horror soap opera that people have been investing in for 12 years. And so when this movie comes out, it's just another little pile of lore where they can look for like these clues that explain what it all means. Even though it's different, it's new, but it's the same. They don't care.
And here's so many thoughts, Dan. So first of all, what I would like to say is if I was the demographic,
sure,
I think I would have loved it.
Yeah.
Also with the game, if I was a demographic with that game, it would be my favorite game, right? I would be the kid that's obsessed with the lore. I'd be reading. I'm going to read about my little lore here. What's going on in FNAF? I would have ate that shit up. It's perfect for me as a kid. As an adult, I look at it and I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. You guys have convoluted it to the point where nothing connects. It doesn't make any sense. And anyone that's over 15 is going to be like, what the hell's going on here? So my problem is the movie took so long to come out that the kids that were obsessed with the first one probably aren't going to enjoy this movie that much.
No, probably not. They've moved on. They've moved on to real horror, and they look at this and they're all like, I was into that when I was a kid.
And that's exactly because the game was also an introductory horror thing, because it's not it's not gory. It's not super scary. Like there's jump scares, but it's more about like the intense, like, Anyhow, this movie was made for kids that play it now as opposed to kids that played it then.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's not a direct correlation on that.
Yeah.
Because if they'd have made it in 2015, it would have just been the story. It would have been the guy goes in there and he has to keep going back and he has to survive, right?
And as someone who knew nothing before I watched the movie, I knew nothing before I watched it the first time, I do kind of wish that's what we got. I think they went, this is my opinion.
Sure.
I think they went too far into lore in the first movie.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to set up a universe and sequels, yada, yada, yada. But my thing is like to create a universe well, you don't throw it all in the first movie. You tease it out. I mean, Iron Man, not that I love the MCU. Let's just throw that out there.
Loves the MCU.
But Iron Man is a great introduction to that universe because you just get little bits and pieces of there's something bigger.
Sure.
But we're focused on this one story. And that's what I wanted from this movie. I wanted this one story taking place in this one room, basically. And then we tease out more stuff where I'm like, oh, shit, what's that about? I can't wait to see the second one. As it stands now, I'll still watch the second one because it's what I do. But I'm not excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is the critics put this at 29. The public put it at 88. And what that tells you is the critics wanted a real movie. They wanted a movie that hit all the points of a movie and had all the building action. And then this movie is just this normal sort of movie that sort of deals with this stuff and sort of gives you a framework and has the...
Sorta.
Yeah, sorta.
Sorta.
And,
it doesn't make any sense, though, Dan.
Well, I mean, there's no, it's not scary. It's not scary.
It's not true.
Scary. It's not horrific. It's not a thriller, but it sort of takes you through this mystery and then it sort of gives you an answer. And then you sort of go, well, okay.
See, I didn't say, well, okay. The answer is actually my problem to the whole movie, if I'm being honest. But we'll as we go through, we'll obviously talk about that. But as like a baby's first horror movie, as we so gently say in the world, it's fine. It's totally fine.
And I actually respect this movie for looking at adults and saying, we're not going to make the movie for you. I agree. We're not going to make a kiddie movie. We're not going to make it, this isn't unicorns and whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to make it a little more something, but we're not going to be like, we're going to try to make the stupid adults, the horror fans happy and the this fans happy and the that fan. It's like, no, it's not. It's not to make these kids go home and have a nightmare. It's just for these kids to go home and go, oh, interesting animatronics that are alive.
Yeah, which let's just talk about that. They look incredible. Unbelievable job bringing those to life. That's huge to me.
It's for $20 million. This movie is good looking. Yeah, the shots look good. The sets look good. The animatronics look great. The way they move is great. There's one or two good, really creepy moments. And you made the mistake, Tony. You watched it a second time, which there's not enough here to watch for an adult to watch it a second time.
There is not. It turns out, because here's the thing: the first time I watched it, I didn't quite pick up on everything that was happening. The second time I watched it, I was focused more on like story and relationships, and I was like, wait a second, this movie doesn't make a lick of sense. Hold the phone, guys.
No, it doesn't.
But it looks amazing. Here's what I was doing as I was comparing it to two other introductory horrors in my life. Number one, the greatest movie of all time, Monster Squad, is the perfect introductory horror. It's not overly scary, but there are scary bits.
Sure.
And, some of Dracula's shit is pretty intense. He grabs Phoebe by the throat. Give me the amulet, you bitch. It's the greatest moment in movie history. So comparing it to that, I don't hate it. And that's how I know it's not a bad movie.
Sure. Not a bad movie.
Like, I look at it, I'm like, as a kid, I would be obsessed with this movie. This would be my movie. However, it's not fun.
No.
That is my biggest critique of the movie. It's not fun. You know what the game is?
What?
Super fun.
Yeah.
It's basic. You don't do much, but you're having so much fun because you're scared. You're waiting for the jump scare. You're feeling it. You're having a good time. I did not have a good time during this movie.
Yeah. There was a lot of setup and they did not spend enough time in Freddys. By a factor of two. They should have spent at least twice as much time in Freddys and less time at home.
Cut out about 15 minutes of the movie. It's too long. Doesn't need to be that long, guys. But also, Freddys looks amazing. I got all the feels. The first time when he turns on the lights and we have the arcade machines popping up, you got the prize counter popping up. I got all the feels for Chuck E. Cheese, my childhood. It was glorious.
Yeah. So we start off Universal Blumhouse. We have a dude who's a security guard who's freaking out, who has a flashlight, and he escapes through a vent He ends up in a storeroom where he then leaves his flashlight on the ground. He goes into the big room and there's creepy music. He runs, locked gate, and then I think he wakes up and he gets his face ground off by this robot mask, by one of the things.
It's a very intense way to open a kids movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like I was in. It does not keep up this level of intense at all, but it's a great introduction. I really enjoyed it. It's creepy. The guy's face just got sawed. You don't see it, which I think is brilliant, but you know it happened, and you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Groovy title music, wall of children's drawings in the place. We learn that Josh Hutcherson is our protagonist, Mike. Matthew Lillard is in here. Mary Elizabeth Mastrotonio, or whatever her name is. Is
that the aunt?
Mary Elizabeth Masterson. Yes. I think she's one of the original, not Breakfast Club, but maybe one of the St. Elmo's Fires kids.
Oh, okay.
So she was part of the Brat Pack. So, okay. And boom, we meet Scruffy Josh Hutcherson, who's playing Mike. He's got a dream book.
Wait, did you nickname him Scruffy?
Yeah, he's very scruffy.
Okay, I was like, is that his nickname in the movie, or is that a Dan nickname?
Should
all
be.
Right, Scruffy it is.
Shanna came in at one point, and she's all like, what is he, a meth addict? I'm like, a little bit.
Kinda, yeah.
So he's got a dream book. He's got a little tape recorder on his thing. He also has sleeping pills, and he has a weird Nebraska poster on the ceiling. And we're all like, okay. I don't know what any of this means, but okay.
Do you now?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you? Yeah.
I know perfectly.
But do you like it?
I think it's one of the more interesting things of the whole movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm into it. All right.
What we're going to find out through a series of flashbacks is that when he was a kid, he was told to take care of his brother when they're on a picnic camping trip. The brother gets kidnapped, and he feels responsible. And so what he's doing is every night when he goes to sleep, he puts on the nature sounds. He looks up at the similar image to where his brother was kidnapped, and he's trying to get back in his memory to get some, a license plate number or a look at the person who kidnapped his brother. That's it. What's confusing about that for you?
Not confusing. Do you like it? And here's why I say that.
Yeah.
It has zero impact on the rest of the movie. They don't really deal with it. It doesn't affect anything. That doesn't drive any of it because he just stumbles upon the answer.
Well,
right?
Spoilers is the guy that created Freddys kidnapped his brother, right?
Yeah.
Which
we'll talk about later. Because at the end of this movie, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
It doesn't really make any sense, and it's kind of random that he's here. He doesn't find out and go and do something about a thing.
Exactly. Now, if he, in the dreams, finds out that this is what's happening, or somehow the dream connects it to Freddys, and that's why he goes to Freddys, I'm in. That's great. That's good storytelling. Bad storytelling is when you have 45 minutes of this guy being like, dream theory is this and dream theory is that, and then it has no bearing on the movie whatsoever. Why is this in here then?
Because
these are my problems with the movie.
The guy that's made the movie
convoluted for no reason. Give me a basic story. Listen, I could take any of these stories. If he's just an older brother, their parents are dead, right? He got a deadbeat sister. The sister's fine. I don't know why I said that. He's got a sister he's got to take care of, so he takes a bad job, and then he's got to survive. Great. That's a fine movie. Just make it simple. And then tease out all the background of this place, and then we're ready for the next one when he has to go back and try to destroy them. I don't know. Something like that. But why is his brother kidnapped? He's having dreams about him. Then he has dreams about the ghosts, which he never really talks to the ghosts anyhow. And then his parents are dead. Why are they dead? Why is there an aunt that's trying to take the sister? Why? All of these things don't matter. Strip that all away and give me a basic storyline about Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, that's not what this movie is. This movie's
not what it is.
We're going to shoehorn in all these different characters and these thoughts and concepts from 6 or 7 different video games, and we're going to kind of synthesize them into this sort of soup that's a movie.
It feels like a DC movie because this is what DC did as well. I mean, they did it way worse. Let's be very clear. I'm not saying this is as bad as those. What I'm saying is they, instead of building simple blocks and expanding, they were like, throw everything in and then we'll just deal with it later. Nope, too late. I'm out.
Too much stuff. So he's having lunch. He works as a security guard at the mall with another dude who I don't think we ever see again. Then he goes over and he gets a smoothie from the girl who's all like, "Oh, when's your sister coming back?" And you're like, we hadn't really established that the little girl he lives with is a sister. We weren't sure if it's a sister or a daughter. It's kind of confusing. Yeah. And so we're like, well, who's she talking about? Then he sees a little kid, and then he sees a guy his dad come over and sort of grab him, and then I guess he thinks that the guy's kidnapping the kid, and so he goes and tackles him. I believe into the water fountain.
He tackles him into the water fountain and then just beats the snot out of him. Great stuff. Doesn't ask any questions, whatever. He throws punches, asks questions later. My kind of guy.
And, once again, probably why Tony had an issue with this is he doesn't really play this same guy anymore in the movie.
Nope. Not only because he brings Abby into his work and then continues to bring her to a place that's dangerous. He asks her to talk to ghosts. He doesn't give a shit about kids. He doesn't care about kids. He only cares about his brother. That's it.
A little bit, which leads to one of the things that's really good in this movie, but of course not really addressed through the rest of the movie.
None of them do. There's good things. Here's the other thing. If this was a movie solely about this guy coming to terms with his lost brother, I also like that storyline.
Yeah, good storyline.
But it's not. It's all of them together at the same time. It's mishmash pudding.
Yeah, it's like this is like 4 or 5 movies that are all kind of living together in the same animatronic robot,
And there's not enough of that part of it.
a lot of ghosts of different movies that are all stuffed into one animatronic robot, which is Five Nights at Freddy's. So he ends up at the career counselor.
Is that a real thing? No. Am I the only one that doesn't know if this is a real thing or not?
Once again, a career counselor is someone you have in high school that you go to.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're kind of like, is he supposed to be in high school? Is he in college? Who is this? Why is he here? And then you go, wait, that's Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him at first?
Oh, of course. Because he was in He's All That very recently, so I know exactly what he looks like.
So he's super interesting. It's interesting because he's like, you're a hard case. And then he looks at his thing and then he sees his last name and he knows who he is.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, well, that's an interesting clue, which we don't really get to till the end, actually.
Correct. But I'll tell you right now, this is the only thing, Dan, that is better on a second viewing is this scene.
Sure.
Because Lillard plays it with the knowledge that we learn later. And the first time you're like, this is weird. Like, what's going on? There's a mystery here. But the second time you're like, this guy's fucked up. He got excited that he just found a relative of a kid that he fucking murdered. And he's like, yes, come into my web. It's good, man. It's good. He's underrated, as always, and underutilized in the movie. But he's great.
He's here, and then he's there at the end, and does he even have another? Does he have another scene? Maybe he has a phone call or something. He has a phone call. That's it.
Yeah, he's got which is from the game. The game starts with a phone call from your boss telling you what to do. So I like that only on the second view.
Sure. So basically, I've got a job. It's not a great job. It's 5 nights going to Freddys. You got to keep people out. He has the best line. He's like, the pay's not great. The hours are worse. I was like, best line in the movie.
Because there's that butt. He does that butt inflection. Josh Hutcherson's like, how's the pay? Not great, but the hours are worse. He's so good. I need more Lillard in my life.
I gotta say, he delivered that line much better than you, Tony. I don't even 100%. Know what he did. He does a little comedic throw on there that
he's Matthew fucking Lillard. All right, usually I'll take offense to that, Dan, because I'm better than 90% of these assholes out there. Not Matthew Lillard.
It was
God, I love him.
It was a line read for the ages.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I love him so much. I hope we're in the midst of like a weird second act for him. I really do.
Yeah.
Let's get it back in Scream 7, everybody. Come on.
Woo!
Stu Macher, living live.
He says Mike can't do nights, but gives him a card anyways. Goes home. There's like an eviction notice. We meet Max, the babysitter. We're like, this is interesting. She's babysitting, but he can't pay her. Okay, Abby's there coloring. And then she has imaginary friends, which another thing that ties into the movie, but we never really gets tied into the movie exactly.
How? Dan, she's literally talking to the ghosts of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Probably, yeah.
Because she's drawing them.
Yeah.
Why? How? Why? What? How? I don't... That doesn't make any sense. So here's the thing. She's talking to ghosts.
She's like She's like a high-level telepath, you know?
Listen, I'm okay with that. Here's where it gets confusing, is that she is already talking to the ghosts at Five Nights. Why? Why is she already talking to A, people we haven't met, and B, people that are unrelated to anything right now? Why are they there? Also, how are they there? Because later in the movie, it seems like the ghost has to use the animatronic to travel to her, to come get her at the house. But if they're already there without the suits, the lore doesn't make any sense. How do ghosts travel? Are they hunting the suits? Can they just wander the earth? I don't know. I didn't get it on the first time seeing it. I was like, this is fine. Second time, I'm a little upset.
So now we have the first flashback to his brother getting kidnapped, which I've already explained. Boom. Let's see. So they go. Oh, so he has to go and see his aunt, who basically wants Abby, and so is
why?
Oh, because of money, because of.
But he doesn't seem to be getting money.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just confused because he says like she only wants her for the, what does he say?
Child support or whatever, check. You know.
Yeah. But he's not. Shouldn't he get that then as well?
You'd think so.
I'm confused on the motivations.
Oh wait, she's watching Abby, nephew, and there's also a teacher.
Yeah. Because we cut to Josh talking to the teacher, and he's like, she's right. I'm not good for anybody. She's like, do you know who's in all the drawings? It's you. You're in the drawings. She loves you.
It's a good moment. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally fine.
So he goes home.
This is the only thing that like is teased early in the film that delivers later is the drawings. So
it's true.
You know, it's got to be okay.
He calls Matthew Lillard and gets the job, and he's like, I had a change of heart. Okay.
Yeah, he's so good. I need more.
So I guess he just goes there, right? Yeah.
Yep. Just shows up.
Maybe there's a Matthew Lillard where they talk over the thing, explaining this place was huge in the 80s.
Yeah, some of the rules. Yeah.
The owner was sentimental. There's cameras. The electricity's iffy. Throw the main off his breaker. Then the monitors come up. He goes into the security room. There's a little tape that says Mike. He puts it in, and it's a training video. And he gets trained.
Can I ask a question? And this is,
I'm always
curious.
Tony, you can always
I'm
ask
very
a
curious.
question.
There's no day guard.
Nope.
There's just a night security.
Yep.
Why?
Because the animatronics just kill anyone that comes during the day.
Is that
I don't know.
Like, I don't understand why you would, just as a business owner, as a businessman, why would I only guard it at night? You know what I mean? Like that, it should be round the clock, probably. If I'm guarding, why am I even guarding it? You know who's going to guard it just fine? My killer robot children. They're going to guard the place just fine.
Oh, Tony, you just want answers. Because then we'd have to have another...
I want some answers.
We'd have to have another actor, and they'd have to cross paths and shake hands. And, you know, the thing about this movie is a lot of things are very drawn out, but other things are as tight as can be.
Yeah, no, it's it's real up and down.
Yeah, for the most part, you respect them because they've made a bunch of things very tight, where you don't have to, you don't have to do a bunch of scenes you don't want to do. But then again, there's a lot of scenes of him, in his dream, trying to figure something out
that he doesn't ever figure out. Don't worry.
So
somebody just tells him later.
He opens a locker, and this is one of the biggest scares. There's a creepy little doll in there. One of the biggest scares in the movie.
It got me though. Like I jumped a little. I was like, oh, which is and I know they specifically didn't want to do jump scares. Yeah. I didn't read why, but I remember that reading like, we wanted to only use a couple, but most of it was supposed to be dread, quote unquote, which I didn't get at all.
Wasn't any dread.
But there's like two jump scares that I was like, fun. I'm having a good time.
He walks through the place. There's weird noise on the speakers, which I think is just from the games. Doesn't mean anything. He does your classic. He hears something. He goes, "Hello," which always makes me happy. He goes up there.
So simple.
He finds all the things on the stage. There's the blue rabbit. There's the yellow chicken, the brown bear, and then the fox that has a hook hand, which you're just like,
great. It's totally out of place, but I love it.
They should not have led with first one should not have been the fox with the hook hand. That's the first one they show you. Should have gone there. That fox with the hook hand should have been
normal, slightly weird. What the fuck? That's how you do that. Come on, guys.
They started with that one, which absolutely the thing. And boom, he's back in the office, asleep instantly. But
he shouldn't really be sleeping on the job.
No,
right?
He shouldn't. But he's constantly sleeping on the job. Does not care. But in this flashback, there's these 5 little kids that are there that have never been there before, and then he's like, "Who are you?" And then he chases them, and then he wakes up and they're gone.
And here's why this is confusing, Dan. Right? Because he's had this dream hundreds of times, okay? But the first time the 5 Nights at Freddy's ghosts are in his dream is because he's in the building. But the sister talking to him all the time. Those two things can't be in the same universe. They can't. They can't work.
Well, I mean, she's like a long-range telepath. He's not a telepath. So
don't long-range telepath. Get out of here.
Okay, so... let's see, Max. So Max had slept the night there, and then she's like, "How'd it go?" And he's like, "Interesting." And then Abby's still asleep. He goes in and checks on Abby. All good. Okay, next day, during this day, we have lunch with the aunt, and there's Max having lunch with the aunt and the lawyer. It's a good little scene, and
it's the second best scene in the movie. What's this guy's name? Is it Doug?
The lawyer?
Yeah, Doug. Yeah, Doug. The greatest character ever created in the history of the world.
He holds his briefcase like this. Oh.
And he's just listening and he's scared the whole time. And he says, "I just realized I don't think I should be here." Like, it's great. This is the level of fun and camp that I want throughout the movie. And then we dip into scary. That's where you need to be.
The problem is this movie is about a dude whose brother was kidnapped and the trauma that has occurred because of that. And so it's hard to live in this fun, weird area.
Dan, because guess what? We don't get closure on that. How is his brother not one of the ghosts? The whole movie is about him finding his brother. How is the brother not a ghost? Why isn't the brother a ghost that's helping him survive the night? That's the story. The brother has to be there. The brother's nowhere to be found? Come on, the whole movie's about that. That's ridiculous.
You don't understand the lore, Tony. I guess in the real things, Mike is the main bad guy. He's the son, and Vanessa isn't the daughter.
I think that almost makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do?
So basically, the aunt has been conspiring with Max and her brother, and you're like, "Oh, that's why she's working for no pay." Brilliant. That was just a brilliant script turnaround. Where you're like, this way someone was acting, it didn't make sense. Now it makes perfect sense. Boom. And then the dude's like, "Let's kill him." And you're just like, "Whoa, wait, where's this
0
going?"
to 80.
Instead, they're going to mess with his job. Okay.
Which is pretty easy because, again, no day guard. So I don't understand. But here's what I also don't understand. Are the cameras not running then all day? Because how is this the plan, right? So they're going to know that other people broke in and it's just 3 random people. Like, how is he going to get in trouble for that? I don't understand.
They explain why he's going to get in trouble for it.
Because he left the door unlocked, but they didn't come through that door, Dan. They broke through some sort of garage thing. It's on camera. I saw it.
And there's also a line in the movie where they broke through the door, and so it's going to be his fault. And they're like, it's something liability. And you're like, I don't think that the security guard has to pay for stuff that gets destroyed.
No,
because they left the door. Nope. I don't.
Nope, it's not out of pocket. You just get fired, right? Yeah, which is fine.
You could try to sue them, but he doesn't have any money anyways. What are you going to? You're not going to get any.
That's why he's working for you at night, my friend.
So he's at home. He tears down his Nebraska poster, and I'm like, oh, did he turn over a new leaf? What's going on? Turns out he's going to put the Nebraska poster up in his office. So
turns out he just wants to sleep harder at work. Like the little naps he was taking aren't quite enough. I need a full 6 hours of sleep here.
Smart guy. Abby's like, I'm coming with you. She wants to come with him because she wants to hang out with the ghosts. He's like, no. He carries her around. And you're like, man, they modulate their relationship pretty well, where she's sort of bratty at times, and then he's like says no, but he doesn't say no. He has to say kind of forcefully, but not too. You have to.
Yeah.
Josh did a good job in this movie.
Yeah, listen. Other than the fact that he's a bore,
he's kind of boring,
which isn't his fault because they load him with so much shit. His parents are dead. He lost his brother. He can't support his sister. The aunts tried to there's so much happening in this guy's life. He can't be happy. It's just not possible. So it's not his fault. He just needs to be less this poor guy. I feel bad for him the whole time. Like, your life sucks, brother. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I would be upset too. I just wish he was more fun. But he does a great job of never getting to the point where I'm mad at him for how he treats his sister. Yeah. Not a single time was like, oh, this guy's a dick. Let's kill him. I was like, he's trying to be gentle. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, this isn't his kid. It's great. It's nice.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And that is a hard thing to play.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're going to shift one way or the other. Boom. He's back there. It's raining. He's put up his Nebraska poster. He's sleeping, Walkman, having the dream. Creepy kids. Someone says, help me at one point, which is interesting. And then
because they don't want help.
And then
I don't know if you noticed that. That's not the goal of the ghost, for help.
And then the redheaded kid cuts him and then is bleeding at the eyes. We're like, wait, what?
The good news is you'll never know why.
You will never know why.
That never happens again. So that's just for fun. And why is he bleeding in real life?
Because one of the animatronics came in there and cut him.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I wish that was shown to me.
Boom, knocking at the door. It's the police lady, Vanessa. She's bleeding. I'll do first aid on you. She doesn't do first aid on him. He does it himself. Then he does it wrong, and then she fixes it. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, why Nebraska? And then he doesn't explain until we find out later. He's like, weird night. She sits down, and she's all like, you're going to quit. And then she's like, have you met them yet? And you're like, what's going on?
All right. Pause. Let's
pause
real quick.
Right there.
So here's my problem. Her character's wrong. Everything she does is wrong. Let me explain to you. At the end of the movie, which I know these are spoilers, but this is my second watch through where I'm like, wait, she doesn't make any sense in this movie.
Not really.
And here's why. At the end of the movie, I won't spoil the twist yet, but she basically is kind of in on the plan, and her job, as per the bad guy, is she has to do one thing: keep him in the dark or kill him if he gets too close. Instead of that, she tells him immediately. She's the one that provides him the information on night one. She's like, oh, hey, what's up? By the way, this place super haunted. So here's the thing. She goes against everything she's supposed to be. She doesn't make any sense. What her story should be, in my opinion, is that she should be doing those things. She should keep him in the dark and be like, no, what are you talking about? Everything's fine here. I don't know. You're going crazy, guy. But then she develops feelings for him and eventually turns and goes for redemption. It should be a very simple redemption arc. That's it. Instead, I don't know what's going on. She's full of exposition that she has been specifically told not to tell anyone, and I don't understand any of it.
There it is. So she introduces him to all the things, and then he doesn't have a badge, so she goes and gets a toy badge out of the prize badges, gives him a badge, and that's the end of day 2.
Yep. I don't know. I don't get it, Dan.
The bad guys. Now we get the bad guys trashing the place. They're like maximum damage, minimum time. There's Carl, who gets attacked by a cupcake. There's Hank, who sees Carl's body, and he flees in terror. This is the funniest flea in terror, the greatest flea in terror, like in any movie. He's screaming, and it's not like a girl. It's not like It's like this perfect how you'd really scream if you were scared. I guess he gets killed.
He's the guy that goes into the closet, right?
Yes.
Which is a very nice little scene. I really liked the closet because he goes into the closet and shuts the door, and then eyes light up behind him, and you're like, "Oh shit, he about to get eaten."
So he gets it. He gets it from the blue bear, and then Jeff, the boss guy, he's in the control room, and then he tries to go through the vent, but the cupcake's in the vent. I was like, "That's good." Then the door opens because they can just control all the doors that aren't controllable. Doors open and close whenever they want them to.
Yep.
And then I wouldn't worry about it. The hook hand Fox gets him, and then Max comes in after a while because doesn't hear from them, and then she gets on a chair and looks in the mouth of the brown bear. Why does she do that?
I'll tell you what happens, Dan.
Okay.
The blonde child ghost is in the hallway, and he's like, come with me. So she follows him. She gets to the room, and then the voice is coming from the animatronic, and it's like, over here. And she's like, this is weird. And then she gets on the chair and looks in, and then his hand comes out and grabs her. And then you cut to the shadow, the best part of the movie. It bites her in half. And it's awesome.
Half of her falls on the ground. It's really good looking shot. Really good looking shot.
This 5 minutes, again, is what I wanted for the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
I like the beginning of this movie, but they should have done something cool like this biting in half bit at the beginning instead of fading out from the kill. Give me a cool kill at the beginning, give me a cool kill here, and then change the entire third act of the movie, and I love this movie.
And I mean, you're like, wow, this is interesting. I like the subterfuge of Max, and I like what they were doing. I like how you've put all these people in there to get killed that aren't going to be paid attention to. I'm like, okay. Mike gets home, tries to give Abby the badge. She doesn't want it. Then she goes and gets it out of the drawer. When he puts it away, she finds the court papers and she freaks out. And boom, here's Vanessa at the door. And she's there to say, someone broke into Freddys, and this is all your fault for not locking the door.
Right. What?
And who cares? I mean, it doesn't really mean anything, really, right?
I mean, not only who cares, but also they would know. You know who did it. You have cameras. You saw it. They didn't come through the door that he went out of. None of it makes any sense. Stupid.
So he goes out with Vanessa. They go by the river, and they have a deep talk. And he explains how he's trying to remember the details, and that's why he does the sleep thing. And then he's, I think he says or she says, perfect childhood is gone. I'm like, okay.
And now this is the part where she needs to start turning and falling for him and starting to go against her directive, which, she should have been following and was not.
She should be trying to talk him out of going back. And,
exactly.
You shouldn't go back. You really shouldn't go back.
You need to quit. You got to get out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
But nope, not that at all.
So that night, there's no Max, and so he takes Abby to work, finds everything all messed up, makes her a fort, says goodnight, sees some blood. Then he starts cleaning everything up. At 4 a.m., he falls asleep. Aggie.
Now,
what? Yeah.
Dan, do you see how nonchalantly you're going through that? And one of those phrases was, he sees blood?
Yeah.
And he does nothing. He sees blood on the... How would that get there, guy? Okay? That you need to look around now. You need to go check your security card. You got to check things out. Nope. He's just like, that's probably there for 50 years. So I'll just pick up this machine here. So dumb. So dumb.
We find out later that there are just bodies piled in the all those dead bodies.
A room, from what I can tell, just a random room. There's just 9 bodies.
I assume that they took care of the bodies, but nope.
No, sir, not at all.
So Abby wakes up. He wakes and leaves. Then maybe she said I wrote, come out. Maybe something says, come out here. And then boom, the eyes click on. And I'm like, oh dear, this is not good.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's back in the dream. There's one kid, and he's like, help me. And then they're like, what will you give us? And then I wrote, bums on ground. Bang on ground. Bang on ground. Bang on ground.
Bang on ground?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So he I guess he wakes up. Maybe he hears a bang. Oh, no, bunny on ground. There's a bunny on the ground? I don't know.
Dan,
So he wakes up and he's all like, where's Abby? And he goes out there and she's making some noises. And then the animatronics are all around her. And then she comes out from him. They were like, they were tickling me. And this was my favorite scene in the movie because you're just like, sure. He's confronted with these full-size animatronics and this little girl, and she's cool with these, and he's terrified. And it's just so creepy, and it's like, how do you react to this? What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. It's a nice little scene. I wish, too bad the movie's not about it.
And she's all
There's so many different avenues they could take to make this movie about something. It just frustrates me.
And we meet all the things. It's like, this is Freddy, this is Bonnie and Roxy and Chica. They want to play. Hold on. And then we find out that they like pictures because there's all the pictures on the wall. And that's your sort of way of communicating with them. And it was so he kind of is able to corral her out of there and away from the homicidal children that are inside these that are haunting these animatronics.
Speaking of homicidal, why do they kill and who do they kill, Dan?
People.
Yeah. Why? Who?
To be,
you know what I mean?
To be scary.
Yeah, see, these aren't reasons. And I know, I don't need... There's a fine line,
I know.
Right? Because you got a Michael Myers. Let's go back to the beginning of Michael Myers. Halloween 1. Why does he kill? We don't know.
Because it's his mom.
He's just kind of evil, right? He's not a good guy. Halloween 2, they make Laurie Strode his sister. And it's like, oh, okay, he's trying to finish killing both of his sisters. Fine. That's great. Then you go to Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers with Paul Rudd. Hilarious. They make it this weird demonic cult thing. You're like, well, now you've ruined Michael Myers because he's evil. He's just evil and he kills. That's his thing. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. He just fucking kills, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why these robots do anything. They kill some people. They don't kill some people. I don't know why they're trying to kill Josh sometimes and then sometimes not. I don't get any of it. They just need to pick a lane. You don't have to tell me why they kill, right? But make it so that they either kill everybody or there's a specific reason they don't kill some people.
I don't think you can do that because you've got all these games where they probably all kill people sort of randomly and for different reasons.
You might be right. I don't know. I only played the first one. I didn't get very far into the game lore, all right?
So he goes home. Abby sleeps. He starts looking at her pics, and then he realizes by looking at her pics that the 5 children that went missing, I guess they mentioned 5 children that went missing, are ghosts, or got killed, and they're ghosts now, and they're inhabiting these things. And so she's in communication with them, And then his whole thing.
Well, there's a great line when they're talking. Is this when they're talking at the table, him and her, about the ghosts?
Not yet, I don't think, but I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. I think then we transition, and then they're talking about it, and so he wants her to talk to the ghosts about the brother,
which I'm all on board with. If this were a movie about finding the brother, which it turns out it's not, but I'm still okay with it. But there's a really nice moment in this scene where he is telling her that they are ghosts. And she says, yeah, how else would they move the I don't remember. I don't know if she says animatronics. How else would they move?
Yeah.
And I just love that. She's like, yeah, I know what the fuck they are. I'm not an idiot. I get that. It's a nice little moment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out because I'm saying a lot of negative things about it.
Oh, that's very nice of you. So the next night they go back. Vanessa's there and she's being nice. And
why?
I don't know.
Why, Dan? She doesn't make any sense in this movie. I'm sorry. Continue. She gets worse.
And then he's all like, you know about this? And she's like, yes. And then Abby's like, let's build a fort. And then everyone's like, yep, let's just build a fort.
Well, but no, Josh says no. He says, maybe we don't do that. And then Blonde Lady's like, yeah, we should build a fort. Why? Why would she build a fort?
And then they're all like laying in like a circle looking up and they're all like hanging out with the robots and the ghosts and everything.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it. It's cute though. Just cute little, there's, I don't remember what exactly happens, but one of them like falls over. You remember this? Oh, she's like, oh, it has to go higher.
Yeah.
So they build it higher. And then she says, you did it. And they both raise their hands up like, yeah, touchdown. And one of the animatronics just like goes too fast, falls over. And then he gives a thumbs. She's like, are you okay? And he gives a thumbs up. I don't know what's going on, but it's cute. And it kind of reminds me of going back to Monster Squad. Phoebe, the young little girl, befriends Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he gives her a thumbs up. And it's just kind of like that, only, not as adorable and endearing. But
that could be a Monster Squad. I liked it. Could be a nod to Monster Squad, Tony.
Could be. I'm going to pretend it is now that you said it. Yeah. There's some nice moments.
So he goes looking for tablecloths to put over the top, and then he walks into the back room, and she's all like, "There's like this one bot there," and he starts reaching for it, and she's like, "Don't go near it," because like the centers of the bots are like these spring-loaded traps that close, and if you're not careful, they'll close on you. And it's both a way to kill people, but it's also supposedly a way to keep the suits on.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because if that means you have to use them if you're putting the suit on, but they're also going to kill you? Those two things don't make any sense together.
And then they're out there and they're doing a dance party. And then Abby like goes to strum the guitar, and Vanessa's like, "No, don't!" She strums the guitar, and she gets 50,000 volts and shoots across the room.
50,000 volts. Why?
Once again, I'm sure it's something from the movies or the books.
So?
Oh, absolutely. All these things are
because the blonde girl. What's her name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa knows that it's going to happen somehow.
Yeah.
She says, don't touch it. What? How does she? It doesn't make any sense, Dan.
So then now Vanessa's like afraid of something, and she's like, if you bring Abby back here, I'll shoot you.
What? What do you mean? It was your idea to build a fort.
It's a big turn.
It's a big turn, and it comes from nowhere. It means nothing. This Vanessa is nuts. Someone needs to go back and rewrite this character for me and make it an actual person. She doesn't make any sense. She's all over the board.
So then, boom, they meet the aunt for breakfast, and Abby gets pissed, and because Josh is going to like give her up to the aunt, I guess. And so
it seems like he's using her as a babysitter, because when he leaves, the aunt says there's a bigger discussion that needs to be had here. So I think she's just there to help right now, but she's thinking she's going to steal the kid. I don't know. It was very unclear.
So she starts hate drawing, and then he goes back to Freddys to do some more sleeping.
Yep. That is absolutely correct.
And then boom, he's
now, Dan. Wouldn't it be interesting?
Yeah.
And I'm just throwing this out here. If her hate drawings then had an effect on the ghosts because they saw the drawing, and they're like, oh shit, now we hate him and we're gonna kill him.
That would make some sense.
Wouldn't that make some sense? Because then later she turns their mood in the finale with a drawing. So maybe if you also have a drawing in the middle, maybe have that mean something. Nope.
So boom, while he's dreaming, he's at a campsite and his mom and dad are there and his brother's there and they're all talking to him and they're giving him the hamburger and all that. And then one of the creepy kids comes up and he's all hamburger. Like, it's pretty nice, isn't it? Pretty nice, isn't it? Wouldn't you like this all the time? And he's all like, yeah, I would. And they're like, we want Abby.
Very Children of the Corn. And we haven't said it yet, but this blonde, the leader of the ghosts, I like him. He's very creepy.
Okay, good.
He's a creepy little ghost kid. I like it.
So he says, okay. And you're like, whoa, he just is trading.
Yeah.
Trading
He's
happiness.
having a tough time. This guy is emotionally damaged very deeply.
And then he changes his mind. And he's like, no, this is wrong. And then they slash him and they put him in the chair and they're going to mask him to death. And then he escapes from that by pulling the thing that the other guy loosened. And then he gets to the no exit, and here comes Hook Hand, and we cut away. So we're like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Boom, back at the house where the aunt is. She's watching TV. And then a different robot we haven't seen that's all effed up, which is, I guess, a big reveal. Because it's like one of the other ones that we've never met this one that kills the aunt. It's like a one missing an eye, and
so this must be something from the games.
Yeah.
I was just confused.
And I guess everybody that knows the games was like, oh my god. And then whatchamacallit came, oh my god, you wouldn't believe it.
So now I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Because, and you can't answer this, Dan. This is one of my rhetorical questions because it doesn't make any sense. Why is it inhabited by the same ghost?
I don't think it is. I think it's inhabited by someone else. Isn't it the
blonde kid?
I don't know.
Because the blonde kid is there.
So maybe it is. Maybe they can.
Because then Abby comes out and goes, Freddy, and he says, not Freddy.
I bet they.
So
I'm sure they can go into different ghosts. The ghosts can go into different things. Why not?
Because their bodies are trapped inside. They should be attached to the one that their body's inside, Dan. That doesn't make any sense. We haven't said that reveal yet, so I apologize for spoiling that ahead of time, but it doesn't make sense, Dan.
Maybe the blonde kid is twins.
Well, now I like what you're saying. Okay, I'm into that. If it's creepy twins, I'm back on board.
So we see the aunt. She's like had her head bashed open, dead on the floor, and then they're like, "Time to go play." And then they go and they get Abby and the giant robotic rabbit with the one eye. Go and get in a taxi.
Dan, how did the robot get there? Question number 1.
Walked.
So he walked all the way there, and then he's like, you know what? I'm tired. We should take a taxi back. That's dumb. You're a robot. Put the girl on your shoulder and walk down the street then, you lazy son gun.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe he took that taxi and the taxi's waiting.
But the taxi's afraid when the guy gets in the thing. That's my next question. 1, this is the middle of the suburbs. Why is there a taxi parked across the street and a guy's just in it? That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they called it.
You think they... you know what? Let's pretend they called it. All right? I don't believe it.
Oh, you know what happened? The taxi driver's daughter drew him a picture of where to go. Dad, you got to go here. And he's all like, I'm going because my daughter said go.
I know exactly that house. I'll drive there right now. It just doesn't make any sense. All right.
Okay. So, boom. Vanessa has found Mike, and then she's gone to the police supply outpost. Who knows what a police supply outpost is?
I've never heard of such a thing, but I'll believe it.
And so she's like, they want to make Abby like them.
How does she know that? Because I'm assuming this has never happened before, because there's still only 5 ghosts, right?
I don't know.
So theoretically, this would be the first new ghost to be made. How does she automatically know that that's what they want?
Maybe she drew him a picture. So boom, so she's all like, the ghosts, the bodies of the kids are in the things, and then the ghosts inhabit the bodies.
But apparently can switch whenever they want and go wherever they want at any time. Got it. Cool.
And then she's all like, and he'll be coming, William Afton. And we're just like, William Afton? What does that mean?
As people that have never played the games or read any lore, we have no idea. That is not a reveal. That is not a reveal to us at all.
And she's all like, my dad. Da, 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 da. And then she's...
Again, too soon. That's too soon to do that, Dan. Here's why. She needs to be making amends. Like, right, she starts trying to get him out of it, keep him in the dark. Then she falls for him. Then she starts trying to protect him. And then the reveal at the end when she's fighting the bad guy is that, oh, shit, that's actually my dad, and I don't know if I can do it now. That's the story. Why are you just telling us this 20 minutes early?
Because she explains how you can fight them. And then we find out that her dad also kidnapped his brother. So that's good to know.
But it's not good to know. It's totally tangential information. It means nothing in this movie.
And he doesn't really react to it that much.
He doesn't seem to get an extra boost of like, now I'm going to kill this guy. He's just like, oh, well, there you go. I've been searching for 20 years, dream theory and all that, but yeah, whatever. It's fine.
It would have been good information for Matthew Lillard to say,
thank you.
when as a big villain reveal, as opposed to his daughter telling him this information beforehand. That's
because
not
all she
really
does is
anything.
tell information she shouldn't tell. That's her whole role in this movie. And I want to give you the benefit, not you. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt of, we're making this for kids. We need a character that can tell them exactly what's happening. Yeah, I guess. But she makes no sense. She makes zero sense. He even comes out later and is like, I killed your brother and now I'm going to kill your sister or something. It wasn't quite like that. But he says that. That needs to be a reveal. He needs to be like, as soon as I saw your last name, I knew I killed your brother and now I'm going to kill your little sister too. That was very Wicked Witch.
Well, we needed that extra 9 minutes in here of exposition.
Did we?
Yeah.
We want to get as close to 2 hours in a kid's movie as we can.
So, boom, she's like, electricity's the key. Here's a bunch of electricity things to use, but I can't help you. And he's all like, I suppose.
Well, see, that information needs to be seen and not told. She needs to be in confrontation about to help him, and then he needs to be like, "You're my daughter. You can't do this." And then she doesn't do it.
And she
first.
drops all the guns. It's like, I wanted to fight you, Dad. So, boom, he crawls through the vent. He pours water out to zap Freddy and the bunny, grabs Abby, zaps Chica, and he's all like, let's go. And then the cupcake gets him.
Yeah, in the leg.
And then
I like this cupcake. The cupcake's not in the first game. I wonder when it comes in. I like the cupcake.
Cupcake's good. The fox is after Abby, so she hides in the ball pit very effectively. It's nice.
This is
scene.
A great scene. Yeah. She's hiding behind an arcade machine, and he's just walking down these like vintage, beautiful 90s arcade machines, and he's creepy, and his feet. It's a lovely little scene. I really liked it.
Yeah, and she kind of disappears, like beneath
into
the ball
pit. By the way, ball pits, gross. Real gross stuff. I used to love those as a kid. Did you ever go in a ball pit? Cesspool of germs. Ugh.
Mike has to deal with the busted up rabbit. Vanessa just appears and kills Foxy. Everyone wake up the children, and then boom. The dad shows up. Vanessa fights the dad. The dad stabs her, stabs her.
Like legit. Yeah, like she gone.
And then I think he gets shot. And then he's like, Abby, show the ghosts who the real monster is. And so she does like this drawing that explains to the kids that the bad guy is the dad. And so,
Because he has some sort of mysterious power over them.
Yeah, so
which it's the only thing in the movie that I'm like, I'll give it a pass. I'll give that one a pass. It's fine.
And then they put him in another suit, and the suit eats him or something.
Well, he's in the suit. What happens is our favorite little guy, Mr. Cupcake, when they all turn on him, Cupcake jumps and bites the animatronic suit. And somehow that triggers the trap mechanism, and it one by one slowly like sinks into his skin, which is a fun little scene. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? But it's a fun little scene. And Matthew Lillard, before he dies, says, you know, remember? He grabs the hat because he's like, I'm going full ghost animatronic, which I love.
Yeah.
And he goes, I always come back. And then he puts his helmet on, and then he dies.
Yeah, I think this is one of the lore things is that whatever he becomes like,
he gets trapped in his own thing.
He's called like Scrapper or has some sort of name and something like that. I don't remember what it was. And he just keeps coming back. And you know, it's your classic thing. You know, they probably throw him in a meat grinder and he gets ground up and then he just comes back. How did he come back? And we'll never know. He just keeps coming back.
But now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Has he done that yet?
No, that's this stuff.
No, he hasn't. So then why does he say, I always come back? Why doesn't he say something like, I will be back? He doesn't know that he always comes back already. He's never come back. All right? You can't say I always come back having never left. Ridiculous.
I would.
I understand that it's for fans, but that's not.
If I were you, I would message Matthew Lillard through his Instagram and ask him to get that line 80 yard out.
Can we get that taken out in the director's cut, please?
I am thinking about coming back.
I am definitely planning on returning at some point in the future. Hat.
And then I think there's happy stuff. I think she goes back to school, and I think Vanessa's in the hospital. She's fine, even though.
Well, she's in a coma.
Oh, she's in a coma?
Because she's like, she doesn't speak, and he talks to her.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't seem to respond. So I don't know if she's awake or maybe she was also sleeping. They love to sleep in this movie, so it's hard to know who's sleeping and who's comatose.
She could be working on some other mystery, and she's got to get some sleep on it.
She could be. She's got to go to that dream theory, figure out the nothing, because nothing ever gets figured out in dreams.
So, this is I wouldn't recommend this movie, but I wouldn't. I have nothing bad to say about the filmmakers. I think they tried to make a movie.
Yeah, they tried. They tried too hard. They put too much stuff into the one movie. As we started, I don't hate this movie. I think it's a fine movie. I think kids will enjoy it. In fact, I recommend, show it to your kids. This is a great introductory horror film. Show them the world, and they can, go find out more if they want.
If they want to traverse all the hours of Freddy and read all the books and absorb the lore, rock on, kids.
Yeah, have a good time. Here's what I will say, though, dear. It could have been so much better.
It could have been a defining movie,
And I mean, it looked amazing. Yeah. The acting is solid. They weren't given the right things to do all the time, but there was some great acting in there. Yeah. If you just fix that story and make it simpler and less ridiculous, I think you've got a real winner there. Yeah. I really do. But,
so maybe,
as it is, it's just,
Maybe with Freddys 2, because Matthew Lillard signed on for 3 movies.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That actually really excites me.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them. I need to write on the next movie because we need to right the ship here. We're going on the wrong course. We need to get back on track. That no one would ever hire me to write. I can't write.
No, Tony, you won't write. That's your problem.
It's a little bit of both. You know what I mean?
So, in the annals of hate watching, this one right up there,
pretty much fine.
Cream of the crop of movies that are not truly bad.
Yeah, still fun to poke fun at. But it's not a terrible movie.
Great movie to look at and analyze because they got a lot of things right, which usually on this show they got most things very wrong. So Tony,
yes, sir.
If you like the show, give us a thumbs up or
it's too late, Dan. It's too late. You can't do it an hour in. It's got to be at the top. Darn it!
I just remembered too late. Tony, Tell us about something you liked this week.
Okay, this is a tough one, Dan. I'm pretty sure I liked this. I'm pretty sure. I have problems with it, but I was laughing all the way through, so I think I enjoyed it. I watched the South Park special,
okay.
Entering the Panderverse, I think it's called.
Okay.
It's got two different storylines, basically, that are like they're two big satires. One of them is Disney, and they're making fun of all the, replacing everyone with
AI.
What's the right word I'm looking for? AI is the other one.
Okay.
AI is story B. Story A is Disney making everything not PC, but when they replace it with women and people of different, they try to what's the word?
Called PC, I think.
Anyhow, so that
diversity.
A whole diversity. Why couldn't I think of that word? Because I'm a white guy. I'm the worst. Okay. I can't even think of the word.
At least, Jesus Christ. At least diversity got it right with you.
We're going to edit all that out so I don't look like such an idiot. So it's all about the one of them is like fighting back and a satire about Disney about diversity, and I disagree with a lot of what they do there.
The AI stuff is
their whole point is it's diversity for diversity's sake as opposed to elevating content at all. Like I think that's kind of the angle they're taking. It's just like you're doing it just to do it, and that doesn't make the art better.
Yeah, I mean,
which is fine.
That's true. But when diversity is done right, it's seamless, and it just and everybody benefits. It's just like any storytelling. If you're doing bad storytelling, diversity is not going to save your bad storytelling.
Exactly, and I think that's their point. I don't think they get it quite clear enough. Where the point is, if it's diversity for diversity's sake, and it doesn't do anything for your story, it's just pandering, right? Like that's the whole point of it. That one's wishy-washy to me. There's some funny stuff, but the AI one is great, and it's all about how the adults of South Park don't know how to do shit. And so they have to hire the handyman, and then the handyman became billionaires. It's brilliant. So half of it I loved, and half of it I was like, swing. You hit some, you miss some. It's still worth a watch. Not that you can watch it now that I spoiled the whole thing. So spoiler alert.
I don't think you can spoil South Park because South Park is always about the jokes.
It is about the jokes, and there are some bangers. I'll tell you that.
Those guys, I mean, they did the first, AI, the stand-up comedy robot. They did all that.
Oh yeah,
they proved the point is we'll see if they ever. Yeah. Oh, actually, wait, what day's today? Saturday. Oh, I have a story to tell.
You have a story to tell?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I want to hear the story.
Okay, I'll tell the story. Well, I'll tell my story, then I'll do my thing.
Yeah.
So I know a guy, Jeff Klein, super nice guy. He's he's a big executive. He set up the Hub. Remember when they did that thing? That was him. He did that. He did the Transformers cartoons. He did the Jackie Chan cartoon.
How well do you know him?
Really well.
Why aren't you employed? What's going on, Dan?
Well, I mean, he helped me a little with Mr. Toast, and
Mr. Toast. Okay.
He always said, "Oh, you're gonna get screwed." That's what he said. He's like, "You're gonna get screwed."
And was he wrong?
I did not get as screwed as he probably could have happened, but So he's a super good guy. I've known him forever. So I was at the flea market. I was just walking around, and I was like, "Wait, Jeff Klein, what are you doing here?" And he was at the flea market because he lives on the East Coast in Maine or someplace.
Oh, okay.
And I guess his daughter this is a very extensive story. His daughter goes to USC now, so he was out here visiting her, and then of course he just went to the flea market in the morning because he's crazy.
Because that's what you do, yeah.
So he said they went to the Sphere.
Oh, in Vegas.
And there's a whole AI setup down below, where there's these, you can walk around and talk to these AIs and they say things. And he was there with a bunch of writer friends of his. And so, they were all they're all, talking to these things. And the one guy's like, so basically what is the future of AI? Make the AI, hoist by its own petard. And the AI is like, AIs are going to lead to the democratization of creativity.
Oh boy. Okay.
And that was it. That was his story. And he was just like, they all lost their minds. Yeah. Because, and he also said that he started to see like these storyboarding AI things where you just put the script in there and it spits out
and it does it for you.
And he's all like, it's going to be a bloodbath. He said, it's going to be bad. And just like one program's going to make 20 people instantly lose their jobs. And it's like, he's like, there's stuff that's real with comedy. I still am not convinced that it's ever going to be able to write comedy. That's my opinion. I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, listen, who knows at this point?
But he's like, the preschool stuff, it's just
you don't need humans anymore.
You're not going to need humans for tons and tons of things because it doesn't, there's nothing there to be, the stuff's very simple to begin with.
I mean, it's very formulaic. Like you put in A plus B plus C, and then it's just like, I can give you 100 different versions of that in 10 minutes.
What's the lesson? Let's do the lesson.
Yeah.
Princess this is that, this is that. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I just did the thing. And, certainly super creative people are going to still draw super creative things and they're still going to be made into creative things and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. But it's that first level, because there's still going to be people that have to oversee that script and like make changes and make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
But we're fucked.
No,
we are so fucked.
We're old, and we'll be gone by the time that people have to truly deal with all this stuff.
That's probably true. We are old, so we're already screwed, is what you're saying. I believe you.
Yes.
Here's my counter story of AI, real quickly.
Sure.
We do at work every year. We do like a Children's Day where we invite kids to come and like hang out in the control room and put on like a fake newscast. Kids love it. It's very fun. We used AI this year, this a couple months ago now. We used AI to just draw us some pictures that we could write news stories off of. And we were asking for like news stories. I can't remember the prompts that we gave. It was like news stories about kids doing big things, essentially.
Sure.
Right? One of the pictures it returned was like a kid that was basically a Frankenstein. It had been sewn together and was part robot, and there was blood everywhere on the screen. We're like, what is happening? So sometimes AI doesn't get it right. That's the story about that. So there's still some kinks in the system. We got some time. We got at least 2 months.
Yeah.
Now, what's your movie? What did you enjoy?
Well, I was doing something, and I watched a trailer for something, and it was by the guy that
Ghostbusters.
did Mr. Oh, God, I watched the Ghostbusters one.
I haven't watched it yet. I thought that's what you're saying. I'm sorry I interrupted. Are we going to do it for this podcast? I think so.
I mean, it's like, who can we put in a Ghostbusters costume this time? But it looks like it's going to be the kids and Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon are going to be the Ghostbusters.
So it's like a family thing?
I don't know.
It's like mom, dad, and kid Ghostbusters?
I don't know.
And people like this more than female Ghostbusters? You got to be shitting me. That's unbelievable.
I mean, I don't want to see female Ghostbusters, but that seems more relevant to me.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I never had a problem with female Ghostbusters. I had a problem with Paul Feige Ghostbusters.
Sure.
That's my problem.
Sure.
Yeah, that looked terrible. But I was watching some trailer and it looked really good, and it was by the guy, the Mr. Robot guy.
Oh, okay.
Whatever his name is. And so I was like, oh, who is that? And I looked it up. And I was looking at all his stuff, and then I realized he did this show called The Resort, which was on Peacock, which I always meant to watch. And so I was like, okay. I'll start watching that. It's great. Totally great.
Is it Leave the World Behind? Is that the new movie?
I think so. Yeah. What is it?
Okay, it's the writer, I assume, right?
I think so, yeah.
Sam Esmail?
Esmail, yeah. He just executive produced this show, but... What's the Leave the World Behind? Who's in it? Somebody's in it.
Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, and Ethan Hawke.
Oh God, that looks really looks very interesting. You don't want
right.
it's the whole world collapsing. There's a lot of good.
What a treat!
There's so many good things coming up. The three body problem. I just watched that trailer again.
Have you read the book?
No.
I haven't read the book. I bought the book, so I need to read it before I see the movie. When does the movie come out? Am I in trouble? Is it a TV show or a movie?
January, I believe it's either HBO or Netflix multi.
Oh boy, I gotta get on that, Dan.
Trailer. I watched the trailer a couple times when it came out, and then I just ran across it again. I was like, holy moly, I'm watching this.
Okay.
And then
it's got the chubby guy from Moonfall, right?
Yeah, because it's the whatchamacallit guys. It's the Game of Thrones guys.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where he's really from. Sam from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because it's the Game of Thrones guy making the movie, the show.
I was just relating it to our show.
Yeah, I got it.
It was Moonfall. Do you remember that great movie?
I'm gonna watch it again pretty soon. I did not enjoy, but I'm sure that's a movie that if it was on, I would leave it on because it's kind of silly.
Oh yeah, it's very silly.
It's definitely one of the better late Roland Emmerichs. Yeah.
I mean, it's no White House Down, but nothing can be.
And then the Brit Marling crazy something at the end of the world where it's like a murder mystery at like a house that's in the snow, but it's that show looks totally crazy. That's coming, I think, this month.
Okay,
I'm ready for that. Louise. There's so much good television. So
a lot of stuff out there that I'm not watching.
Yeah. I'll rewatch.
Let me tell you, Love Island Games on point, baby. Having a great time with that. Oh man, and the Golden Bachelor is almost over. By the time this comes out, it might be over. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But man, we did the Women Tell All last night. Oh boy, I was crying. Woo!
You're crying at the Golden Bachelor.
It's Dan. I think if you watch it, you would cry too. You're a sentimental bastard. And this is all about people in the older generation, like refinding love and being like, hey, my life's not over. I can still find love. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Also, some very attractive older women on this show, Dan. Oh boy. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, there it is. Well, Tony, we've talked about AI. We've talked about all this other stuff, wasting time. You're supposed to be telling us what movie we're going to watch next week.
I think you've already seen this. I'm not sure. And I feel like you said you liked it. I don't know. But we're going to watch this because it doesn't look good. But I'm sticking with the family-friendly theme, and we're going to watch the Emoji Movie. Did you watch the Emoji Movie?
It's supposed to be so terrible.
Okay. When I was deciding, I was like, I feel like Dan saw this and he liked it, but I'm going to do it anyhow because Dan's an idiot, is what I said. But
not wrong there. No. This movie's supposed to be beyond terrible. I've heard.
Yeah. It looks real bad.
Very terrible things about this movie.
It's been on my list since like day one, I think.
That's a good one. I mean, I've thought about it once or twice, but I've never written it down as a viable movie for us. But it is. I think it's what's his name is. The guy from Parks and Rec, is he in this? I'm pretty sure he's in.
I don't know who's Parks and Rec. I don't watch TV.
You don't watch TV.
I know that the main guy is Mr. TJ Miller.
Oh, TJ Miller.
Yeah, and he's a problem just by himself. So that's great news.
Very funny.
I don't know. I can't even find it now.
We'll have to look it up. Okay, we'll go see. We're going to do the Emoji Movie. I'm assuming you can watch this somewhere on the internet. They haven't taken it down.
I didn't look. I didn't even look. I'll find it later and I'll tell you.
Let's hope it's still available to watch somewhere.
Worst comes to worst, I'll support them and I'll buy it. Don't worry, Dan.
There it is. So we'll be back next week with the Emoji Movie. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, or do any of those other things that you can do. Because we're trending up lately. We're getting better numbers.
Oh, yeah. Wow, good for us. I'll tell you what, the podcast not doing so well. So go ahead, leave a comment on the podcast side as well, guys.
Oh, the podcast. Remember when podcasting was a thing? I do.
I remember, and I thought that we were going to crush it, but instead we did not.
Oh, well. Well,
here we are.
We'll see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody.